Bhagavatam is the religious process which elevates one to the platform of serving and loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The attitude of the disciple should be to satisfy the bona fide spiritual master. Then it will be very easy for him to understand spiritual knowledge. This is confirmed in the Vedas, and Rupa Goswami will further explain that for a person who has unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed very easily. Serving the spiritual master with faith and confidence. Regarding accepting initiation from the spiritual master, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 17th chapter, verse 27, it is stated by Lord Krishna, "My dear Uddhava, the spiritual master must be accepted not only as my representative, but as my very self. He must never be considered on the same level with an ordinary human being. One should never be envious of the spiritual master as one may be envious of an ordinary man. The spiritual master should always be seen as a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by serving the spiritual master, one is able to serve all the demigods." Shri Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text 312. So, should we repeat the last verse, 315? Okay, so I'll just do this myself. Shiva Shakti Yukta Shashvati Lingo Guna Samrita Bhakarikas Tajaishascha Tamasa Chitaham Tridha. The truth about Lord Shiva is that he is always covered with three material coverings, Vaikarika, Daijasa, and Tamasa. Because of these three modes of material nature, he always associates with external energy and egotism itself. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.3. Text 313. Harihi nirguna shakshat purusha prakrite para Sa sarvadrigupadarashta tam bhajan nirguna bhavet. Translation. Shri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is situated beyond the range of material nature. Therefore, he is the Supreme Transcendental Person. He can see everything inside and outside. Therefore, he is the Supreme Overseer of all living entities. If someone takes shelter at his lotus feet and worships him, he also attains a transcendental position. Purport. This is also a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.5. Text 314. Palanartha swamsha Vishnu rupi avatara sattva guna drashta tati guna maya para. Translation. For the maintenance of the universe, Lord Krishna descends as his personal plenary expansion in the form of Vishnu. He is the director of the mode of goodness, therefore he is transcendental to the material energy. Text 350. So we can do this one together. Swarupa Aishwarya Purna Krishna Samapraya Krishna Amsi Teho Amsha Veda Hena Gaya Swarupa Aishwarya Purna Krishna Samapraya Krishnam Shite Horamsha Vedihena Gaya Swarupa Aishwarya Purna Krishna Samapraya Krishnam Shiteho Amsha Vedihena Gaya. Swarupa Aishvarya Purna Krishna Samapraya. Krishnam Shiteo Amsha Vedihena Gaya. Swarupa Aishvarya Purna Krishna Samapraya. Krishnam Shiteho Amsha Vedihena Gaya. Swarupa Aishvarya Purna Krishna Samapraya. Krishnam Shiteho Amsha Vedihena Gaya. Swarupa Aishvarya Purna Krishna Samapraya. Krishnam Shiteho Amsha Vedihena Gaya. Swarupa, personal expansion. Aishvarya Purna, full of all opulences. Krishna Sama, equal to Krishna. Praya, almost. Krishna Amshi, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Deho, Lord Vishnu. Amsha, personal expansion. Vede, the Vedas. Hena, thus. Gaya, sing. Translation. Lord Vishnu is in the category of Swamsha because he has opulences almost equal to Krishna's. Krishna is the original person and Lord Vishnu is his personal expansion. This is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. Please repeat. Lord Vishnu is in the category of Swamsha because he has opulences almost equal to Krishna's. Krishna is the original person and Lord Vishnu is his personal expansion. This is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although an incarnation of the material energy, Lord Brahma is nonetheless the director of the material mode of passion. Similarly, Lord Shiva, although simultaneously one with and different from Lord Krishna, is still the incarnation of the mode of darkness. However, Lord Vishnu is Krishna's personal expansion. Therefore, he is the director of the mode of goodness and is always transcendentally situated beyond the jurisdiction of the modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is the original personal expansion of Krishna, and Krishna is the original source of all incarnations. As far as power is concerned, Lord Vishnu is as powerful as Lord Krishna because he possesses all the opulences. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurannitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Vishnu is in the category of Swamsha because he has opulences almost equal to Krishna's. Krishna is the original person and Lord Vishnu is his personal expansion. This is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. So we haven't really done Chaitanya Charitamrta class for quite a while, so probably everyone's forgotten where we are in the book. So I had to go through a few things through the book to see where we are. And just to recap, this chapter describes Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami met Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi, and for 2 months continually Lord Chaitanya instructed Sanatana Goswami on various aspects of devotional service. And so throughout this part of the Caitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya is explaining to Sanatana Goswami how the living entity is one of Lord Krishna's energies. He also explains the process of devotional service to Krishna, and also while discussing Krishna, the Lord analyzes the different aspects of Krishna, like Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And then he also describes the different expansions of Krishna, the Vaibhav and Prabhav, Prakash, and then he describes the various incarnations of Krishna. So within the material world, such as different avatars, Leela avatars, and Purusha avatars. So we're on the point now where Lord Chaitanya has just described the Purusha avatars, and he's describing the Guna avatars now. So the Purusha avatars is the three Vishnus, the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Shiradaksha Vishnu. So the three Vishnus, the Purusha avatars of Krishna, how they take they are part of they help with the creation of the material world, and how now the Guna avatars Lord Chaitanya is describing. The Guna avatars are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Lord Chaitanya is saying that Lord Brahma is a living entity that's been empowered by Krishna to perform the process of creation, and to help, like a secondary creator. And Lord Shiva has been described now, just before these last few verses, Lord Shiva has been described that he's not actually a living entity, but he's actually, it's like described like yogurt and milk. Yogurt is a preparation made from milk, but it's not the same as milk. So you can't treat it like you can treat milk. So anyone who knows how to cook, they can understand that you won't use milk to make sweet rice, it'll just curdle. Or you won't use yogurt for a milk preparation. So they can't act the same, although they are made from the same elements. So all these different incarnations, it's described in Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto that all these incarnations are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of Lord Krishna. But Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam, so Krishna is the original source of all the incarnations. So there's a verse, the famous verse, Eti Chamsa Kalapumsa, Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. So this is actually called the Paribhasa Sutra, which is the emperor verse. So like the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the army, and this verse is like the emperor. He's actually the king of all the verses. So we have to view everything in the Bhagavatam according to this verse. So so many different incarnations are described in the Bhagavatam throughout the first nine cantos, and they are all describing the different avatars. So there's 6 kinds of incarnations described by Lord Chaitanya here, but actually Lord Chaitanya says that no one can count the innumerable past incarnations of Lord Krishna, but I shall describe the principal ones. So it's not that he's just limited to these incarnations and there's no other ones. These are just the principal ones, but Krishna is unlimited and his incarnations are unlimited. So the 6 kinds of incarnations that are described here are the Purusha avatars. So that's the 3 Vishnus from whom the creation takes place. The Garbhodaksha, the Karnadaksha Vishnu is the one where all the universes are coming from the pores of his body. So there's millions and millions of universes just through his exhaling. Millions of universes are coming out of the pores of his body. And then Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into each universe and lies in the Garbhodak ocean. And from his navel comes a lotus. And from the lotus, Brahma is born. And then from Brahma, the secondary creation takes place. The living entities are put into different bodies, and different creations take place, all the different species of life. And then the Lord enters into each heart of each soul, of each body, as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And he's there as Paramatma, the super soul, witnessing all the activities of the living entities and helping them to remember or forget their past lives. So these are just the 3 Vishnu incarnations. They're the ones that are involved with the creation of the material world. Then there's the Leela avatars, like the different pastime incarnations, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nasimha. They're all different Leela avatars. There's so many of them as well, unlimited numbers, because in every universe Krishna's appearing. There's unlimited universes, and in each universe Krishna's appearing in these different forms at different times. So then there's also the Guna avatars, which we're just, Lord Chaitanya is describing just now, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. So Vishnu, although Brahma and Shiva, they're more like Lord Brahma's in charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva's involved in the mode of ignorance. But Vishnu is actually, although he's master of the mode of goodness, he's actually transcendental to the mode of goodness, so he's not under the influence of the modes of material nature, whereas Brahma and Shiva are influenced under the modes of nature. Then also there's the Manvantara avatars. So there's 14 manos in one day of Brahma. So and Brahma lives for millions and millions of years. So you can imagine how many manus there are in one lifetime of Brahma. There's hundreds of thousands of them. And that's in just one universe. So there's millions of universes, so we can't even imagine or conceive how many manus there are on Manvantara avatars. Then there's the Yuga avatars, so there's 4 yugas. So we've got Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And Lord appears in each age to establish the principles of religion or the Dharma for that age. So in Satya Yuga, he appears in a white incarnation and he establishes meditation. In Treta Yuga, he appears in a reddish form and he establishes sacrifice. In Dwapar Yuga, he appears in a bluish form and he establishes deity worship. And then Kali Yuga, especially a special Kali Yuga, this Kali Yuga, he appears in a golden form. And he establishes Harinam Sankirtan as the main process of Dharma. And then there's also Shaktivish avatars like Kapila, Rishabha, Narada, Prithu Maharaj, Parashuram. So they're all empowered incarnations. They're not the Lord himself, but they're actually empowered living entities who are, got empowered by the Lord to perform a particular mission. So one may think, well, so it's described here that Lord Vishnu is in this category of Swamsha. So Swamsha expansion is actually a Vishnu Tattva expansion. It's not a living entity. Whereas Vibhinamsa is like the living entity. So it's Jiva Tattva. So there's a big distinction between the two. So here Lord Vishnu is described that he's not a living entity. He's actually a Vishnu Tattva. He's a Swamsha incarnation. And Lord Vishnu is as powerful as Lord Krishna, because it's described here that, actually it's described in the next verse, that just like when you get a candle and you light another candle with it, the flame is the same. There's no difference in power or illumination. But one is the original candle and the other one is an expansion. So the same way Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna have the same power, but Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna, or Krishna is original. And so Krishna is like the original candle from whom all other candles are emanating. So one may think, well, why do we need to read about all these incarnations? Why do we need to actually understand this? Why can't we just go directly to, Krishna's pastimes and, relish them? So it's described that we should actually approach the Bhagavatam from the first canto, not just go jump straight to the 10th canto and start trying to understand Krishna's confidential leelas, because we'll misunderstand them. There's a statement by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says that he offers his good counsel to the interested Vaishnavas when he says that they should not be interested in hearing only about the Lord's activities like Rasa Leela, but must be keenly interested in his pastimes and his features of the Purusha avatars in connection with Shrishti Tattva, creational functions, following the examples of Maharaj Parikshit, the ideal disciple, and Shukadev Goswami, the ideal spiritual master. So Shukadev Goswami is the ideal spiritual master, and he's presenting the Bhagavatam as it should be understood. So he doesn't just go straight to the 10th canto and start talking about Krishna's confidential pastimes. So the purpose of hearing about all these incarnations is because it's impossible for us to understand the Supreme Lord fully. It's beyond our intellect. So in various scriptures, the Aishwarya, the opulence aspect of the Lord is described. And it's always just presented before we can truly appreciate the Madhurya or sweetness aspect of the Lord's nature. So the first 9 cantos help us to, know the amazing omnipotence, the opulences of the Lord, his greatness, his unlimited divine potencies in different incarnations, how he expands himself into different incarnations, into how the creation takes place. It's incredible. It's beyond our intellect, beyond our understanding. And when we are fully convinced of Krishna's divinity, when we have full faith in his divinity, then we can start thinking of entering into understanding his confidential pastimes in Vrindavan and how he is very sweet at the same time, his Madhurya aspect. So if we follow the systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam and hear about how the Lord acts with his different energies, and this is done regularly with devotion, with reverence, then one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. This is by Prabhupada's words in the Bhagavatam. So all these different activities are described by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami is not an ordinary conditioned soul. He's a liberated soul. He's an eternal associate of the Lord. And not only that, but he's an eternal maidservant of Radha and Krishna. So, but still Lord Chaitanya didn't reveal to him these confidential pastimes to teach us that we shouldn't just jump to these confidential pastimes immediately. We should actually go through the process, scientific process of going through the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. He's explaining to Sanatana Goswami the process of devotional service, the different aspects of from Shraddha to Prema, so that Sanatana Goswami can write these books so that we can understand the process of devotional service properly. Otherwise, we'll misunderstand Krishna's intimate pastimes, and it will become just a cheap thing. There's a statement by Srila Prabhupada as well. Prabhupada says that there are professional Bhagavad reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Leela chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as if other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of the Rasa Leela pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the acharyas. So none of the acharyas approve of this method. So it's very important that we stick to this process. It's been laid out by the acharyas, so we don't deviate from the process of devotional service. And then if we do follow the process properly, we follow the process of that's recommended, that we do sadhu sangha, that we do bhajana kriya, that we accept a spiritual master, and then anartha niviti, then we become free from anarthas. And this isn't just a quick fix, anarthas can take many, many years to get free from, depending on the individual, how pure they are. So in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that after 15, 20 years of steady devotional service, then we can start thinking of maybe entering into Raganuga Bhakti. But it's not just as soon as we get we come into Krishna consciousness that we start entering into these things. It's not recommended by any acharyas. So we have to be careful that we follow the process properly. And then we come to, when we're sufficiently purified, then it'll be natural for us to enter these things. But if it's not, if it's just a quick thing, a cheap thing, then it will not be beneficial for us. Actually, it will have an adverse effect on our Krishna consciousness. So, any questions or comments? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's 6 different opulences. So Krishna has 4 more opulences than Lord Vishnu, 4 more special opulences than Vishnu. So one is his beauty is beyond anyone else's beauty. So it's beauty, his transcendental flute playing. He's surrounded by loving devotees. And there's another one. I can't remember. There's 4 more. There's 4. It's beauty, flute playing, loving associate, pastimes. So Lord Vishnu, he possesses all opulences in full, but these particular aspects only Krishna has, and also the opulences of. So in that sense, he has opulences almost equal to Krishna's, but not quite, because there's different opulences that are that Vishnu doesn't have. So in one sense, the power portion of Krishna, Vishnu has that power portion, the strength, but beauty, he does not have as much beauty as Krishna. So there's different aspects that he's not complete in, if that makes any sense. So the power, like he's saying that the power is the same, as powerful as Krishna, but that's only one aspect of Krishna's opulence, is the strength. Krishna's other opulences like beauty, fame, which Krishna has more of than Vishnu. But the power aspect's the same, the strength. So, it's just another name for Vishnu, isn't it? Because he lies on the Nara Ayana. Just remember, it's like the ocean. He lies in the ocean. As far as I can understand, it's the same personality. And there's different incarnation. Different forms of Lord Vishnu in the different planets in Vaikuntha. Does anybody else have any? Mm-hmm. I mean, in different Vaikuntha planets, Lord Vishnu has his consort, and the forms. I mean, there's different Vishnus that have got different forms. I mean, different the conchs, different places, the lotuses in different places, different hands. You know, and they've all different names for those. When we're talking about Garbhadaksha Vishnu, these Vishnus are in the material universe. They're taking place. They're helping the creation. But on Vaikuntha, there's Narayan. He's also Vishnu form, but he's in different planets in the Vaikuntha planets. So maybe there's a slight difference in that. I'm not sure, but Narayan, as far as I know, is the same as Vishnu, but it's just different forms of Vishnu. Never heard anything else. I don't know. Have you heard anything? Narayan and Vishnu, are they the same person, as far as I know? Yeah, the same. Well, sometimes there's a bit of a misunderstanding, because when it's described in the Bhagavatam, all the different incarnations in first canto, then it's described that Krishna and Balaram are such and such, the seventh, I don't know which, 19th or 20th incarnate, or something like this. So this, sometimes there's a misunderstanding that actually Vishnu is the source of all incarnations, and all these different incarnations coming from Vishnu. So it's like a misunderstanding that Krishna and Balaram are coming from Vishnu. But if we understand the last verse of that whole part, it says that all these incarnations are plenary portions and portions of the plenary portions, but Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, from whom all other incarnations are coming. So then we understand that actually Krishna is not an incarnation, he's actually the original, but he comes in a scheduled time. So it's like, there's a certain incarnation that's supposed to come at a certain time, so Krishna comes at that time, but Krishna is the original, from whom all other incarnations come. And that's why this verse is so important, because it's the emperor verse from which we see everything, the whole Bhagavatam, from this light of this one verse, Ete Chamsa Kalapam Sa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. So we have to see that all these incarnations that is described in the 9 cantos, they are originally coming from Krishna. Yeah. Or misinterpreted it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives a whole systematic analysis of all the different demons and different represented by different. So the anarthas different represented by different demons that Krishna kills. And I can't remember the name. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I can't remember the name of the book, but it's a kind of an analysis of all the different demons, and they represent different anarthas, and how that by performing certain activities we get free. By heeding these pastimes of the different demons being killed by Krishna, then our heart will get purified, and then we can actually come to the point. Actually, Krishna kills all these demons before the Rasa Leela, so that we get sufficiently purified before we get to that point. So, and there's also a quote by Prabhupada. Somebody asked Prabhupada about, about the Radha Krishna pastimes, and Prabhupada says, so far your question about the gopis, in the beginning there is no such question. In the beginning we have to follow the principles of devotional service rigidly, like chanting 16 rounds, regularly following the instructions of the spiritual master, which includes study, temple worship, sankirtan, like that. And the more one becomes perfect at following these principles, the more his relationship with Krishna becomes manifest. Following in the footsteps of gopis comes in the perfectional stage. First you come to the perfectional stage, then you talk of gopis. Going to girls and without coming to the perfectional stage, if anyone tries to understand the gopis, he becomes a sahajya. Gopis are not ordinary women, they are all expansions of Krishna's pleasure potency. So when we understand Krishna, then we shall understand gopis. We can simply follow footsteps of gopis, how they loved Krishna. And this message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given, he gave the same message as Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, surrender to Krishna. The pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Radha and Krishna relationship are confidential, are not for distribution to the ordinary public. So Prabhupada was very straight and very easy, very precise about everything. So these confidential pastimes are not just to be talked about or tried to understand until we come to the perfectional stage, until we get to the stage of ruchi and asakti and bhava. These are not supposed to be meddled with. So if we've still got anarthas in our hearts, then we need to get free from them. Sorry? Yeah. So if we're not preaching to the audience in the proper way, and if preaching way above their realization, then we're committing the ninth offense. Yeah. 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 So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, after 15, 20 years of steady devotional service, one can start thinking of entering into such topics. At that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was talking to his disciples, so they were living in the temple. As far as I understand, it's not just temple, but if you're performing that devotional service steadily, chanting and hearing and performing seva, sankirtan, temple worship for 15, 20 years, then we're eligible. Then we can think of this. So it doesn't mean that they have to live in the temple, but at least if they're following the same principles as temple principles, then they can come to that point. And also, at that time, when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he seen the Radhakund, there was lots of Babajis, and they were, so-called renunciants, but behind the scenes they had illicit connections with women. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur purposefully went there, and he sat with his disciples for months talking about the first verse of the Bhagavatam, just to prove the point that you can't just jump to that and without proper qualifications. So before that, I was listening to one lecture that was saying that before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they were more into the rag marg, like the Goswamis and the Bhaktivinoda Thakur is more. But when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came, he wanted to establish more the regulated devotional service, so that devotees didn't didn't take it cheaply, like he was seeing at Radhakund that this was happening. So he purposefully just emphasized preaching, and Prabhupada followed in the footsteps of his Guru Maharaj, that we preach, and then everything will be revealed to us. We don't have to make separate, endeavor. When Krishna is pleased with us, he will reveal things to us, through our purification. Yeah, yeah. That's what Prabhupada says, devotional service. He particularly emphasized devotional service is not just a armchair philosophy. Bhakti is not just devotion, but it's devotional service. So, we have to use our body, mind, and, all our activity should be in devotional service, not that we just talk about it. It's not just some armchair philosophy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, somebody on the level of Baba, they're continuously serving. It's not like, you know, they don't waste time. That's somebody on the level of Baba. They don't waste time in other mundane or material pursuits or anything else. They're just constantly engaged in devotional service. Hare Krishna. He's he's in charge of the more like destruction of the universe. So it's like a mode of ignorance sort of thing, But it's not that he is, Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava, Yatha Shambhu, he's a great devotee, and he's doing that service on behalf of Krishna. He's a Lord, the Shiva Tattva is a very, very special Tattva. He's not a living entity, and he's not Lord Vishnu. He's Shiva Tattva. So he's on a different category altogether. And probably we can give a class on that alone, because it's a very difficult subject to grasp. Actually, I've tried it myself, tried to figure it out. But Lord Shiva expands into the 11 Rudras, and there's Sada Shiva, who's in the spiritual world, and Lord Shiva's an expansion. So I'm not really 100% sure myself, so I don't want to talk about it so much, because I'm not really 100% sure myself of the whole tattva. But Lord Shiva is not a living entity, and he's not Lord Vishnu. He's on his own category of Shiva tattva. I probably won't be able to understand it, but there's maybe slight differences between the different Vishnus. So in Narayan, maybe on a different level, but it's the same. It's an expansion of Krishna. Krishna's got unlimited expansion, so maybe there's slight variations between each expansion of Vishnu or Narayan. But altogether, the basis is that they're all expansions of Krishna. So whether they are slightly different, or you know, it's basically they're all either plenary portions of Krishna or plenary portions of Krishna. Yeah. So it's just to show that Krishna's beyond our intellect. We can't really understand all his expansions and incarnations. They're unlimited, and they may have slight differences between different incarnations, and the position of the different symbols are different, and they've got each got a different name in the different Vaikuntha planets. So you know, just to just this is just a small portion of Krishna's opulences. We can't even understand that. So how are we going to understand Krishna? You see, so that's why it's good to understand or try to understand, how he incarnates in different incarnations, how he is involved with the creation and destruction of the universes. All these are important because otherwise, why would Maharaj Parikshit even ask such questions? And he's got 7 days to live, and you think, well, why is he asking about the creation? Why is he asking about all these things? And 7 times in the Bhagavatam, the creation is explained 7 times. So why is that? It's for our benefit, so that we understand there's a creator, there's actually a controller. That's, it's not just happened by chance. And we have to try to figure out how we're going to get out of this creation, out of this material universe. That's another incarnation of Krishna as well, Narayan. So, unlimited. Well, Prabhupada introduced the worship of Lord Nrsimhadev and the prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev when there was trouble in Mayapur, when they were having trouble with dacoits. So Prabhupada asked the devotees to pray to Lord Nrsimhadev for protection. So it's like part of the protection of the movement, part of protection for ourselves from, getting distracted and deviated from devotional service. So it's an aspect of Lord Krishna that protects, he's come for protecting devotees. And and he's the one who can clear away our anarthas, he helps. Like Hiranyakashipu is like, representing lust and, greed and all these, anger, all these different anarthas. Lord Nrsimhadev, we can pray to him to help get free from these anarthas. Just like he killed Hiranyakashipu as the personification of lust, So in the same way, we can pray that the Lord helps us get free from this lust, all these different anarthas in the heart, and protect us in our devotional service in the right path. Because it's very precarious. We're in a horrible situation because it's like the material energy is constantly bombarding us with so many ideas, desires, temptations. So we're always going to be like surrounded by this material energy until we get really fixed in devotional service. And even then, Maya's there right to the end. She'll tempt us with things. So we have to be very careful, and we ask for protection, pray for protection from Lord Nrsimhadev. And then, so he'll help us on the path. So, There's also a definition in Sanskrit. I just found that it says, see, um, Narayan is often associated with water, symbolically as infinite as the oceans, the one who rests in waters of creation. So it's like the one who rests in the waters of creation. I've heard that before. So, the Karnadaksha Vishnu is lying in the ocean. So is Garbhadaksha Vishnu is lying on the ocean. So it's like referring to that, lying on the ocean. Mm. 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 Just different meanings, just like Krishna has many names, like Govinda, so they have different meanings, but it's the same person. So to understand, maybe. They've all got different potencies. So maybe one's got slight more potency than the other. Yeah, yeah, mm, yeah, yeah. By chanting the holy names, everything will be revealed eventually. If we're chanting purely, then all these things will become. It won't be like a difficult thing for us to kind of grasp. We can just see that, well, Krishna's unlimited, and everything is possible for him. You know, so then we'll understand it properly. Otherwise, we'll try to these itsy bitsy things. Will become like kind of present in our mind. I mean, it's good to think of these things, but ultimately is to bring us to the point to understand that Krishna is unlimited and he can do anything. He's got unlimited incarnations. They all have different potencies, a little bit more than another. It's like there's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. So um, it's like it's all perfect, but there's more perfect and there's more perfect than that. So it's unlimitedly more perfect. And Krishna's unlimitedly becoming more and more perfect. It's not like he's stopped at being perfect. He's becoming more and more beautiful all the time, more and more strong. So all the opulences are unlimited as well. So we can't really, be trying to understand this little part of Krishna. It's very difficult. Mm. Well, thank you for just being so eager to hear about these things. So, it's okay to stop now. Um, Thank you very nice discussion. Grantra Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, ISKCON Govind ki jai, Shaprapad ki jai, Gaur Purnamandi.